Hey puzzlers, this is Steve here with another video on how to solve some logic puzzles. This one's known as a rain clouds. Now I've already done a video on how to solve a rain clouds puzzle, but we had a viewer that suggested it was a little too easy of a puzzle, and he asked that I solve this particular one. Now this, I will warn you guys, it's not an easy one, but we'll go ahead and walk through it step by step and share some common tips and tricks along the way. Now, how a rain cloud puzzle works is you're trying to locate all the clouds within the grid. Numbers along the outside of the grid indicate how many cloud segments are in that given row or column. And clouds can't touch one another, not even diagonally. So you might have, say, I don't know, a cloud here like that, and then a cloud here like that, and then another cloud like that. You can see they cannot touch one another. And the clouds have to be at least 2 by 2. So they're going to be square or rectangular, so you couldn't have, say, a weird shaped cloud like that. Now, it could be extra long, it could be extra wide, but it's got to be at least 2 by 2. So that's it for the rules. I'm going to go ahead and start solving this one. The one tip I would share with a cloud puzzle is that 3 really is the magic number, or any odd digits. And the reason for that is whenever you see a 3, you know the whole cloud has to be in there. So you couldn't have, let's say, 2 cloud segments and then another cloud segment over here, because then this would not be able to have the 2 by 2 rule. It would break. So that, I would say, is probably the most important thing to understand. And then when I was doing this puzzle, you'll see there's a lot of blanks, and this is what makes it hard. In my opinion. But the way I started was I started up here in the corner. And the way I think about it is this cannot be part of a cloud segment. The reason for that is, if you think about it, is if this were part of a cloud, it'd have to be 3 out this way to validate that rule, and it would have to be 3 down this way to validate this one for the same reasons. But what happens is it would then be a 3 by 3, which would break this 2 clue. So this cannot be part of any cloud. And then I noticed on the bottom, pretty much the same thing happens here. If this is part of a cloud, it's got to be 3 tall, and then it's got to be at least 1 over for this 2 clue to be satisfied. And what I've noticed with that is it breaks this 5 clue. Right, because we can't come over anymore to shade in for the 5, so this would have to be it. No bigger, no smaller for that cloud. And we know these cells just to the right could not be shaded in any way, and neither can this corner cell. So that leaves us with these right here, which is 5. So all 5 of those would be forced, right? And then, since this top one is shaded, and it's a 3 clue, it would have to either come over here and be these, all 5 of these, or it'd have to come over to these 2 and be all of those, and it's going to break this 2 clue, because if this 3 and this 2 cannot be part of the same cloud, right? You couldn't have cloud like that. That would satisfy the 3 but break the 2. And then vice versa, if you had it come over here, right, that would satisfy the 3 but break the 2. And then if you satisfy the 2 but not the 3, it's just not going to work. So this cell cannot be a 3. And then going along, again, this 3 is going to be really the way you start, because the other thing, I just basically look along this row to see where the 3 could be placed, because this 5 is important in its relationship to the 3. So if we look at this cell and this cell, it's going to be the same reason, right? If we put the 3 cloud there, it's going to break this 5 clue, because then we couldn't put a cloud there, 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 or there, and there's just not enough spaces here for 5, right? That's only 4. And if we can't go any further, because then we break this 2 clue. And same thing with this cell. So same reasons apply, right? If we have the 3 cloud there, that satisfies the 3, but then where do we put the 5 shaded regions here, right? So you couldn't then, let's say, so I'm going to color this in case you guys are not seeing it. If that's a cloud, right, none of these cells here could be a cloud. Right now that leaves us 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just not enough. And if you say, well, you know, we bring it out to shade in some of those cells to satisfy this 5, you're going to break this 2 clue. So that's not part of it. And then from there, what we can do is kind of use a strategy that you might in a cross puzzle or a nonogram, where we look to see if there's any overlap. So there has to be 3 shaded cells. If we go from the top extreme, 1, 2, 3, and then from the bottom extreme, 1, 2, 3, we notice no matter what, this cell overlaps. So we know that that is actually part of the cloud, for sure, with certainty. And then because we know the 2 by 2 rule, it has to be at least 2 wide. We're on the edge, we can't go to the left, so we have to go to the right. So we know for sure that's also part of the cloud. And at this point, we're going to know that we have to come over even one more, otherwise we're going to break the 5 clue. Right? If we think about it, if it's a 2 by 3 like this, there's no way to fit enough shaded cells to satisfy this 5. Same thing if we go down here, you're only going to get up to 4 up there. So no matter what, we know we have to come over one more, because this cloud has to help satisfy this 5. So that's got to be shaded. And then at this point, we ask ourselves, well, can it go any further? Could it be, a 4 by 3? And I think the answer is no. And I'll explain why for a bit here. So if it's a 4 by 3, that's going to ruin this 5 clue. Either one, right? Because this cloud has to go up or down. Either way it goes, it's going to hit one of these 5 clues, or affect one of those 5 clues. I shouldn't say hit. It's going to affect one of the 5 clues. And so if we come over to a 4th cell, we can't have 4 shaded cells and then 1 single one, because it's for the same reason as the 3, right? We have to think about the 2 by 2 minimum. So you can't have 1 shaded cell by itself. So you can't have 4 and then 1 random, right? That would break the 5. So then you say, okay, well, 4 doesn't work. Could 5 work, right? Could we have a really big cloud like this? That would satisfy this 5, it would satisfy this 3. But then what's going to happen is you're going to ruin this 4 clue if we go out that far, right? Because then you're going to have 3 shaded segments, and you can't have, again, just 1 random segment for the 4th one. So this 4 either has to be like 2 and 2, or it has to be 1 single segment of 4, but you can't have 3 and then 1 for those 4. So what's going to happen is, we know this can't be 4 wide, we know it can't go 5 wide, and it most certainly can't go 6 wide, because again, it's going to go up or down 1, and it's going to break these 5s. So in fact, we know this can only be 3 wide. So we know this cell here cannot be part of the cloud. And now what we can do is, because we know diagonals are not going to be part of the cloud, we know this cell and that cell also is not going to be part of the cloud. The reason for that is we know this cloud is either going to go up, down, or it's going to go up 1 and down 1. Either way, these 2 are not part of it. So we're making good progress. At this point, what I would do with these puzzles is, when you're presented with a possibility of going in 2 directions, either up or down, or in this possibility, 1 of each, I look to the extremes first. So I say, okay, can we go completely down with this 3 by 3? We know it's going to be a 3 by 3, right? Because it's 3 wide, and it's got to be 3 in this column. So it's got to be 3 by 3. So we imagine, can it be like this? And the answer is going to be no. And the reason for that is, if we think about this, if it's a 3 by 3 like this, all of these cannot be part of the cloud, right? And so then we're forced to have all of these be part of it. So let's say this is this is the 3 by 3. We know then this has to be for this 5. And we can't go down with it. So again, imagine that's the 3 by 3. This is the 5 by 5. We can't go down because then we're going to break this 5 clue, right? Because we need 2 here. And we can't go up with it because let's say if we go up, what's going to happen is, where do we put the 2? We can't put the 2 anywhere there. They would have to go here. And you'd say, well, you know, it could go down or up. It would satisfy the 5, but then you're going to break the 3. And stick with me here. This is we're going, you know, we're stretching this a little bit. But let's say, you know, what happens here is you're going to screw up the 3 along the top row no matter what. So stick with me here. This is a 3 by 3 there. We know the 5 would have to be here, but not down. So it would go up, and then the 2 would be forced to be these 2. Now, if it's down, where do you put the 3? So what happens is the 3 couldn't go like that because you break the 2 clue. And in fact, it can't be here either because that breaks the 2 clue again, right? It can't be here because that breaks the 2 clue. And it can't be here because then you have the clouds touching one another diagonally. And it can't be any of these then. So basically you can't fit the 3 in. And even if the 2 went the other way, right? If we had a 3 by 3 there, the 5's there, the 2 by 2's there, I mean, where do you fit the 3? No matter what, you're either going to break this 2 clue or you're going to run into this cloud. So what that tells me is it can't go down to this cell here. So I can X that out. Now, I don't know about these 2. These could possibly be in it, right? If it goes up and say the cloud is like that. So I'm just Xing out this one particular cell. And it was at this point that I feel the educational part of the video probably comes to an end, because when it comes to these tough puzzles, really sometimes what I do is I just I look to see if something is possible, and I try to go down as far down that path without any obstructions. And sometimes I just get lucky, and sometimes I just say, you know, oh, that was actually right, and that's it. You know, usually the puzzles that I really like a lot are the ones that have a very sequential logical path. This puzzle, unfortunately, is not one of those. What I do know is from this point is I know it can't be a 3 by 3 down, so it has to go at least up 1, right? It's either going to be a 3 by 3 like that or a 3 by 3 like that. So I know at least these are all going to be part of it. So again, this is a pretty good start. And at this point, what I ended up doing was just saying, okay, what if we try the other extreme, right? If it's these 3, these would be all X'd out, right? And if that's the case, let's just imagine it for now. So if it's those 3, if that's the case, I know the 5 would have to go like this, and it can't go up because then you break this 5, you would have no place to put it. So I know it's that 3, it's these 5, and has to go down. And then where do you put the 2? Can't go on any of those, so it's forced to go there. Now this 5 is solved, and so the 3 can't go here or here, right? If it's any of those, it's going to break the 5. And so at this point, I also know the 3 can't go here, here, or here, because otherwise you're going to break the 2 clue. Can't go there, right? Hope you're following along. Can't go in any of those. So then the 3 would be forced in the middle here, right? Has to be to the right of this 5 and to the left of the 2. And it solves the 4 now. You have 2 shaded cells there, 2 shaded cells there. And now this 2 is forced, right? Can't be in any of these. Because remember, you can't have clouds touch. So it's forced to be these 2. And you say, well, maybe it could go up, maybe it can go down. We don't know. And then with this 5, same situation. Well, it can't be here because it'd break the 4. Can't be in this cell because it's squeezed, it can't go to the left, would break the 4. It can't go to the right, would break the 2. Can't be this cell because this 2 is already solved. So it has to be these two now. And now this has to be a 2 by 2 at least, but it can't go down. Otherwise it would connect with this cloud. So it has to go up. And now it's connected with that cloud. And the only number we haven't satisfied yet is the 6. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it needs to go up one more. And there you have it. And puzzle solved. So you can see, perhaps it might not be the best example of a cloud puzzle, but I do think it's a good example of what a tough puzzle can be. Because I certainly think it wasn't easy. It took me quite some time to get that. Now, if we let's say didn't get lucky and went this way, right? I mean, it was a 50-50 chance. I said, let's follow this, or I could have said, let's follow that. What I would say is if you followed this route and you said, well, what if it goes down? You are going to run into a problem where you have so many possibilities, because now you have 3 and 3 for these 5s. And so how you would solve those 5s is either you could have 2 and 2 like that, or you could have had 2 and 2 like that, or you could have had a cloud like that with 2 there and 2 there. You just had a lot of different possibilities. And I think if I was solving this in a competitive way, trying to do it as quickly as possible, I would have, you know, and if I followed that path, I would have told myself, something seems off because there's too many possibilities. I would look for another angle where essentially when I'm given a 50-50 chance, knowing, oh, it's either going to go up or it's going to go down, I follow one to see how quickly it unravels, or how, you know, if perhaps I'm not explaining this right. You know what? I'm going to stop right there before I embarrass myself anymore. That is how you solve a tough rain puzzle, and hopefully you guys were able to solve it. I left the link below if you wanted to give it a try on your own, and that's something new I'm going to be doing with my videos. So each puzzle that I do and solve, I'm going to share a link for you to try it out yourself first if you like. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. I do really like rain cloud puzzles. I enjoy them a lot. This one, definitely tough. I want to say it probably took me a good half hour to figure this one out. Maybe slightly longer, I don't know. I wasn't timing myself. But hopefully you guys have a good evening. It's a long weekend. Happy Easter to everyone. And if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more like this in the future. Thanks, everyone.